Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. Now, we're reviewing another animated film, and I talked about this a while back though, but it was based on a book that I remember reading, and I was skeptical about it because I'm not particularly fond of him. Well, as an actor, I did not like any of the films he was in. So, but I think this is like the only decent thing he's done. So, but so for today's review is of Ferdinand. You know, based on the book, you know, Ferdinand the Bull. And who I mean though, I'm not a fan of John Cena. I'm not. The films that he has been in, I have not. That I have seen. I don't like. I don't like John Cena. I know he's a nice guy, and you know, and does a lot of charitable things, and that's totally fine. And that's totally fine. If I ever met John Cena, it's like, I'm not gonna be rude or anything though, but just as an actor, I don't like him. I just think he's just, you know, he's not on the same level like he is with Dwayne Johnson. You know, to me. Well, even though there has been recent few films that I did not like with Dwayne Johnson. You know, I do not like Skyscraper. Did not like Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. So, and I did not like Baywatch either. So, yeah, there's been some recent Dwayne Johnson films I've not liked. You know, but to John Cena, I did not like 12 Rounds. What was that? What was the one film with John Cena? Well, I know that was a comedy film, Blockers, from last year, which I did not see, but before I saw the Red Band trailer, oh my god, freaking! Especially for one particular scene where he was at a party for a particular beer drinking game, and especially his appearance in Daddy's Home. Well, he appeared at the end of Daddy's Home, but then the sequel where he starts singing, and it was the Nickelodeon with Fred. The movie plays Fred's father. God. And what was yeah, there was, yeah, I think it was 12 Rounds, The Marine. That's what I was thinking of, The Marine. And Ferdinand Blockers, and Bumblebee. I had no interest in seeing Bumblebee at all, because he was in it as well. Yeah, but Fred the movie, like Fred 3. Why is it? How would he get in 3 of these Fred movies? God dang it. Yeah, I'm not as an actor. You know, I don't like him as an actor, from my personal perspective. But this is the only decent thing he's done as voicing Ferdinand the Bull. Some actors are just better off doing voice work. You know, it's just that's how it is. You know, like Adam Sandler. You know, the only decent that he's done recently is his voice Dracula in the Hotel Transylvania movies. The live action films he's done have sucked. You know, That's My Boy sucked. Jack and Jill, god dang, that's a travesty. And The Ridiculous Six, and Blended, and like all those other comedies he started for the past few years, you know, have sucked. You know, and he's just better off doing voice work. You know, and here, same thing with John Cena. I think he does a decent job as voicing Ferdinand. That's the only thing I can give credit for him for. But if anyone is a fan of John Cena, that's your opinion, though. I hold that not against you, no. But in my opinion, I think as an actor he sucks. But I'll give some decent credit that he does a decent job as voicing Ferdinand. So that's why this would not be a rant if I would have liked the animated film. So this would not be a rant. So John Cena, he does a decent job as voicing Ferdinand. That's it, though. But as for the rest of the supporting cast members, you have Kate McKinnon as Lupe the Goat. other cast members, which I'll get to though. But the story is, that the story of based on the children's book of Ferdinand the Bull, who he was supposed to be a fighting bull, but he's not like that. He loves flowers. It's like one of the characters in the film. He calls him Flower Bull. So he doesn't like the violence. He likes to does like the peaceful things. Like he loves to sniff flowers, not confrontational. And it's just open, and of course it's in Spain, and he's at this bull ranch where his father was picked to do the fight in the bull ring, and in Ferdinand he's picked on by the other bull calves. One particularly named Valiente, the other one's named Bones, one was named Guapo. And during the night, Ferdinand's waiting for his father. He doesn't come back, so, and the flower he was like tending to, Valiente steps on, and then he runs away. He runs away, far away, until he gets to this small farm. Where a man and his daughter named Juan and his daughter named Nina takes Ferdinand in, and then Nina and Ferdinand become best buds, and they also have a dog named Paco as well. And then another thing though, you get this the song named called Home, sang by Nick Jonas. Which I was another thing. I was never a fan of Nick Jonas either, and essentially he starred in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, he's following me wherever I say. So did not care for him in that film either, and I'm not particularly a fan of the Jonas Brothers either, but Nick Jonas or any of their songs. But I'll say one decent song that he has saying that Nick Jonas sang is in this film called Home. 'Cause I like to call it home. I think this, and also this film got some praise, got praised by critics. It's a 72% Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.7 IMDb, but it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Animated Feature. But not only for Best Animated Feature, but also nominated for a Golden Globe, including for Best Original Song, Home, from Nick Jonas. So that's another thing. The song was decent as well. So, and then it shows Ferdinand. He's all grown up. He's big and huge, but still playing, not violent. And loves playing with his flowers, play with Nina. And when he started, and John Cena voicing him now, and he's talking with Paco, he calls him brother, which is like, oh, we're not brothers, and he's like, really? Tell that to your, if we're not brothers, why is your tail wagging? And they're gonna go to the next annual flower festival. They go every year, but since Ferdinand's now huge, things may cause a big mess, so he's told to stay, but he ends up going anyway. Follows them to town, and some people are actually scared of him because he's a big, huge bull. And until, for I remember, it was also in the book as well, he gets stung by a bee, and as he screams, it's actually a growl that people are hearing, and thinks he's gonna destroy the whole town. Which he caused some wreckage, and which actually sends a baby flying, and he actually saves the baby. And then what occurs? We get to what is in the poster. He ends up in this china shop. The term "bull in a china shop." Yeah, have you heard? Yeah, of course. Everyone says as everyone has heard the term. You're like a bull in a china shop. Well, here's one. He is in one. He tries his best not to break anything, trying to be smooth or stealthy, whatever. And then, with a feather duster, he sneezes, causes a big breaks everything, and he gets caught and he's put back back in the trailer. And Nina said, "Oh, he wasn't hurt," but Talbot saying, "Oh yeah, well look what he did." So he gets dragged back to the ranch where he grew up, where he was at before. And all the other bulls have grown up as well. One of the bulls, this small skinny bull named Bones, is voiced by Anthony Anderson. Anthony Anderson, from Kangaroo Jack and from he was in Scary Movie 3 and 4, but he's been in a lot of movies. He was in Exit Wounds. He was in what was it? Well, give me a second here. I know he's been in a lot more of the films I know of, though. Well, I know he starred in that TV show Blackish with Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah, Romeo Must Die, Me, Myself, Irene, See Spot Run. That was another one I remember from with David Arquette. Cradle to the Grave. Yeah, but the film I most remember when I first saw him from was in Kangaroo Jack. Yeah, the first Transformers films. But he'd be starting a lot of stuff in as well as TV shows. He was in the TV show The Shield with Michael Chiklis. But he also starred in that comic show Blackish. But he voices Bones, and first he sees him that it's Ferdinand who had a growth spurt. It's like, well, Ferdinand had a growth spurt. Nice, I only regret every time I called you weird. And before when he gets to the ranch, he meets with the goat Lupe, voiced by Kate McKinnon. He's like, what was it, the goat, the training goats or whatever it was, I forget. And then all the other bulls, like Guapo, is voiced by football quarterback Peyton Manning. Played for the Colts and then the Broncos. I was like, really? That's Peyton Manning? And of course, he did the commercials for Nationwide. But I like Peyton Manning. When he played for the Colts, when they transferred to the Denver Broncos. In case if anyone knows me, where I was always wearing the Denver Broncos hat, and probably see on my window back there the pen of the Denver Broncos, and on my bed here the blanket of the Denver Broncos, everyone knows that I'm clearly a fan of the Denver Broncos. And I was happy when they won the 50th Super Bowl when Peyton Manning, before he retired from football, when he won with the Denver Broncos. But it was just quite funny that he actually voiced in this film as well, so that made me laugh. Yeah, and Peyton Manning, as we see as Guapo, is like, man, what have they been feeding you with? And then there were some other new bulls. This one bull with this very stern face, all he goes is go, what was the name? McKenna. He doesn't speak. All he does is goes groans like. And then the other one is a Scottish one named Angus, voiced by David Tennant. David Tennant, from the show Doctor Who and among other stuff as well. Of course, I also know because he voiced Snotlout's father, Spylout, in How to Train Your Dragon, the TV show, which the character's been in the movies though, but are only spoken though. And then Valiente shows up, voiced by Bobby Canavale. And it's like, well, look at you, Ferdinand, another growth spurt. And tells him, welcome back, Ferdinand. And then then comes along that the bullfighter named El Primero. he arrives at the ranch because he's doing one last bullfight. One makes his best one, so he wants to get all the bulls together and pick out the best one. So all the other bulls, they gather and they get in the ring, and of course Ferdinand, he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to fight or anything. So none of them has his interest yet, except they think it's Guapo. The other bulls think it's Guapo he got picked, but actually he's going to the factory on the hill. It's the chop house, where they slaughter the bulls and make a meat. And Valiente tell you, it's either you go to the ring or your meat. So, and Ferdinand tries to escape, but there's an electric fence, and he gets really bullied by these 3 horses. Every time, more time he's standing there, he also meets these 3 hedgehogs, like Uno, Dos, and Cuatro. And it's like, whatever happened to Trace? We don't speak of Trace. Now, that's another thing. I think this was decent. It was decent because there's a lot of characters I didn't care for in this film. Like the hedgehogs, I didn't care for. The horses, I didn't care for. I thought they were unlikable. Because they're douchebags, but they are meant to be because you think the horses are better than bulls. But I didn't care for them at all. I didn't care for the 3 hedgehogs. Them right there, I didn't care for them. I didn't care for the goat either, Lupe. For someone, I thought she was quite annoying. Kate McKinnon, I'm not that big fan of Kate McKinnon. I know she was in other films, including the Ghostbusters remake or reboot. So I'm not particularly fond a fan of her either. So I just didn't care about the goat Lupe either. I know this would be like the one of those like being with the Ferdinand and all that stuff, but I just didn't care for her either. So that's why it's decent. I didn't love it because some of the characters I didn't care for, and John Cena, he does decent though, but there are some things that I did like though, but I don't hate the movie though. I don't. Until like for Ferdinand, he helps Angus because he can't particularly see because his hair is in the way until Ferdinand licks his hair and sticks up, he can see, and then those horses, so they can't dance because Ferdinand can't dance because he's a dumb stupid bull, but proves them wrong. He starts doing a little dance because he learned dancing with Nina. And then Angus joins in along with McKenna, or the silent one, and Bones too. And so the duo start they're dancing, and the horses they mess up, and the bulls win. And one of the dialogues I didn't think was the jokes that was funny because the leader of the 3 of the horses, their foe is like, "Oh help me! I fall down and I cannot get up." Yeah, it's a joke I didn't care for. Yeah, so some of the jokes I didn't think I did not care for either. So some of them, but even though they had a good time though, but still the same thing because Valiente is saying, it's not all fun and games, it's seriousness. And then during the night when Ferdinand was about to get out, he notices the horns on the walls. Including saw a picture of his father and his horns on the walls, and he realizes that the bull never wins, always loses, it dies, and always loses, and then dies, and he gets the horns hung up on the wall. So he tells everyone that you don't want to be picked. It's just another chop house. But Valiente is too stubborn, think that's how the way it works. So he forces Ferdinand to fight him until Ferdinand breaks off breaks one of his horns, and then El Primero sees that Ferdinand is the one to be for what he did, so he picks him, and then Valiente is sent to the chop house. but he still wants to get everybody out of here, including Guapo and Valiente. So he goes to the hedgehogs make a distract the other horses, and the rest hold him off. Ferdinand goes to the factory. Guapo is still hung up, and Valiente is miserable because of what happened, and saying that, oh, so that's it, you're either a fighter or you're meat. And I thought you were a fighter. So, but Valiente helps him out, and they're all this the machine where the blades and all this stuff, and they get frozen through with ice, and then they get out and they get in the truck and they drive away because now they can drive. Well, I know it's an anime movie though, but still, they can drive, and the other people, they chase after them, including everyone, including the hedgehog, including this one bunny where Ferdinand gave CPR to, joins them, and then they make their way through town. They get on a bus eating churros until they get to the train station, and Ferdinand helps all the other bulls get on the train to ride away until he stays behind, and Ferdinand stops them from using the big tractor thing, and he stops it, but gets taken to the Coliseum. And Primero is preparing himself. El Primero is in the ring. Ferdinand's in the ring. He doesn't want to fight until he gets the red the cape thing. I forget what was this, Toro, whatever, or Ole, and all that stuff. He gets caught on his horn, and he's trying to get it back. He gets tossed out of the ring, and then gets these two blades, and until eventually he cuts Ferdinand, and he gets angry, showing he's about to really get him. Has him by the horns. Showing he's really angry. But then he notices the red rose that was tossed earlier. Sniffs it and realizes that's him, not a killer. So he sits there, not fighting, and Primero gets his sword out, and then everybody in the audience saying, "Don't do it." They're all like waving the little white flags, "No surrender, don't tell him, don't kill him," and all that. So he doesn't do it. He puts his sword down, gives a little nod, as a respect and all that stuff, and walks away. And Nita gets there, hugs Ferdinand, and all the other bulls there. It's like Valiente saying, "Well, Flower Bowl did it." And then they all get brought back to their place, to their farm, and all is happy ending. And you get during the credits to see pictures of them living their life on the farm. But just before the credits end, Ferdinand sits on that one hill where he likes to sit at by the tree where the flowers are, and he's viewing the horizon. And everyone else does that too. So yeah, I like the movie, but I don't love it because there's issues that I have with it though. But I don't hate the movie. But so some of the jokes I didn't think it was funny. Some of the characters I didn't care for either. But and for animated for what it was, it cost $111 million. Domestically it made 84, and worldwide it made 295 million. So you could say it did fairly well, even though consider the fact this opened up on the same weekend as Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Like I said, I definitely like this a lot better than The Last Jedi. Definitely, I can say that. Because I hate The Last Jedi. I'm sure a lot of people do, but I can say this is a lot better than The Last Jedi. But, yeah, but domestically, yeah, because it opened on the same weekend as The Last Jedi, which took all the money. But it would help overseas, made close to 300 million. And it's directed by Carlos Saldanha, which directed the first 3 Ice Age films. I think he also directed Rio 2 as well. The first 3 Ice Age, not the fourth one though, or the 5th. But John Cena, I thought he was decent. Not great though, but decent. So that's like the only thing I'll give him credit for. But the other films he did sucked, and I had no interest in seeing Blockers. I'll just hate it even more. Forget that one scene in that trailer for Blockers. God. Yeah, that's what John Cena is now doing now. God. Freaking. And I have no desire of seeing Bumblebee either. I'm tired of the Transformer films as well. So. But here, he was decent as Ferdinand. Other voice cast members, Anthony Anderson was decent as well. He hasn't done much in a while though, but he was still decent. Bobby Cannavale as Valiente. But Peyton Manning, I thought was funny, you know, because he was also about his character as well. He tries to act up, but when he gets a little nervous, he gets sick as well. I thought Peyton Manning, I thought he did good, you know, because I like Peyton Manning. So I thought it was kind of funny he was casted in this. So he was fun to hear him. But and the song "Home" by Nick Jonas, I thought was decent as well. Not a particular fan of him either, but it was a decent song. Kate McKinnon as Lupe, didn't care for her. Not particularly fan of her anyway, but I didn't care for her as the goat Lupe. Thought she was kind of annoying. So that's why I don't love it. It was decent, so I don't hate it, but yeah, this is most. So it's 50-50. I have half of the stuff I liked and half I didn't like. So, but yeah. As for the score by John Powell, who helped do the score on How to Train Your Dragon films. It was decent though. It's not the same good score as the How to Train Your Dragon movies were. Not on the same level. So it was like the complete opposite. Like how he did the scores for How to Train Your Dragon movies, where it was great, and here it was decent, not on the same level. So, but I don't want to work to say is this. I guess it got enough praise where it was nominated for an Oscar as well as a Golden Globe for Best Animated Feature and Golden Globe for Best Song, but it didn't win any of them. So, but I'm gonna say so. Ferdinand, decent. If I want to rate it out of 5 stars, maybe I'll give it 3 stars. So in the middle. But that's yeah. So that's my thoughts on Ferdinand. Decent. I will say that. Decent movie. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.